At 62, my dick is like Buddy Holly's plane. Like, it's like, go down. Hello, everyone. Hola, mis amigos. You're listening to Oh My God Hi, Hijo de Dios. Hola. With me, George Lopez. Porque, ¿sabes qué? Let's do the show. Porque I got a lot of things to do. I gotta go to that dry cleaner ahí. My kid fell. Se pegó la cabeza. I gotta go get some Neosporin Paul.
You know what George is?
Oh, I'm sure he's around here somewhere.
What's his name? George?
Lopez.
George Lopez.
Oh my God!
OMG.
OMG! Hi!
Oh my God, hi!
Support for the Oh My God Hi podcast is brought to you in part by our friends at Manscaped. Gentlemen, Father's Day is just around the corner, and our friends at Manscaped are here to ensure that all the father figures out there are looking daddy material this June. Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0, which includes their signature Lawnmower 4.0, is the perfect bundle to tackle any and all old man hair from head to toe. This right here is no dad joke. So get 20% off plus free shipping with the code OMGHI at manscaped.com. Trust me, his dad bod will thank you. Big thanks to our new sponsor, Medterra. At Medterra, they crafted trusted, effective, and accessible CBD products that support deeper sleep, relaxation, and relief. So go to medterra.com/OMGHI and enter code OMGHI at checkout for 30% off plus free shipping on your first order.
So I told my wife, I said, hey, I'm going to Momo's birthday, but you're not invited. I said, I ain't taking it because I know and she said, no, I don't want to go.
Why, she won't let you have fun?
Nah, the guy, it's like being around guys. Guys will talk, and then she doesn't need to hear that shit. No.
How about that? Guys will talk. She doesn't need to hear that shit.
No, she's Sister Mary Clarence.
All right, let's get to it, man.
Talking about Molly Shannon?
Finally, we have some talent. I know you don't drink because Asian people that usually...
Is this alcohol?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, my God. I mean, I do drink. I just look crazy. I get really red.
Why is it that... that's what I want to say, man. Why is it that culture gets really red when... And, I was with this girl, and we were at my house party, and she goes, I said, have a drink. She goes, no, I don't drink it. I get really red. And then she had a margarita in her hand. I said, I thought you didn't go. Shit. She was
She looked like a strawberry.
fucking inflamed, man.
My grandson.
Look how much I drank. She probably fucking drank that much.
My grandson, his dad is Dutch Indonesian. And so my grandson has his blood, and he just has a couple of, and he turns beet red. His dad, I mean, it's like turning a red light on. I mean, it's incredible.
When Van Halen and I, he's Dutch Indonesian, when Eddie Van Halen and I went to the desert, it was really hot. And then I looked over at him, and he was pink, like really pink. I go, hey, man, you're the color that I like my salmon. Take a level. I should take a picture of you. You're the perfect color of a beautiful salmon.
Nice medium.
Like just that, like pink.
Yeah.
That pink glow. And it happened fast with driving. I look at him, how far are we? It is I think it's the genealogy on.
I think there's an enzyme that's missing.
Oh, the enzymes.
I don't know. That sounds real.
No, I just looked it
I
up.
heard it somewhere.
That's
I heard
exactly what it is.
Is it?
Yeah, it's an enzyme deficiency. The enzyme is called aldehyde dehydrogenase.
Yeah, that's what I told my grandson. Whatever Grant just said, that's
we
what I
don't have
said.
that one.
Yeah.
We have yours. We have one that we're not supposed to have. We took all the ones from the Asian culture. Latinos have two. That way we can drink and never get. And we try even not to look. Our whole fucking lives we're ruled by women who are like, "Are you high? Are you drunk? Are you high and drunk?"
Our women will never ask that because it's obvious. You're drunk. And have you ever met a Korean that's drunk? A drunk Korean?
I have, man.
It gets scary. It gets really scary.
Where were you born?
I was born in Flushing, Queens.
Do
you know?
Just south of Korea.
Yeah, Flushing. Yeah, where the Mets are from.
Yeah,
Flushing,
exactly.
yeah.
And the nanny.
That's right, and the nanny. And
My reference.
And how did you start doing comedy?
How did I start doing comedy?
Or who did you watch? I mean,
who did I watch growing up? Well, when I was 16, I was deeply closeted, and all my Korean friends, they were, going clubbing and stuff, and I clearly didn't want to go clubbing, so I would get a buy 2 drinks at the Comedy Cellar and sit in the back.
Oh, wow.
And just watch comedians. Dave Attell was my favorite. Like the way Dave Attell talked, for me, a closeted gay, evangelical Christian boy, like that was freedom.
He almost
Right.
has
You know
like
what I
a
mean? Like-
lisp. It's not there, but it sounds.
Who, I got a lisp?
No. Dave Attell.
Attell.
He's got
yeah.
he's got like a.
I think
little
Attell
speech.
is probably going to go down as one of the most underrated comedians of all.
That's so crazy to me because he was everything to
And
me.
he's
when
he's been working for a long time.
Forever, yeah.
And he hasn't really had, I don't think, specials that have had the opportunity for a lot of people to see him. But the people who are in comedy or in the know love
yeah.
Dave Attell.
I just love hearing him on the radio.
Yeah.
He's on the radio?
Oh yeah, all I listen most of the time is comedy.
Comedy radio.
Comedy radio.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I can't.
Okay, so you're sitting back there. You're sitting back there, and you're watching these guys, and then you figure, do you think I want to do this?
Hell no. I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
Like, they were magicians,
Yeah.
For me, it was like watching Moses coming down, like it was like godlike almost.
It's not the easy when a guy is doing well,
Yeah.
they can make it look easy. But if somebody can't do it, it looks like the hardest fucking thing to do in
It's
the
the
world.
hardest thing.
First of all, you have to get the plane in the air first. If you're an airplane, you're getting on the runway like, hey, how's everybody doing? And then you got to hit right away. You don't hit,
The first
then you
lap.
don't hit the second, third one. Now you're running out of the place where people are going to start to say, fuck this guy. This guy's not fun.
Yeah, you have no runway left.
You got to hit them and let them know that
Yeah.
that they're about to see something.
Yeah. So I didn't see, the only person I saw doing it was Bobby Lee and Margaret Cho, who my mom was like, you can't watch her, she's gay. As if me watching a gay person will be
funny
like,
gay though.
the funniest gay. Yeah. I have a funny story with Margaret Cho. She doesn't know me from anyone, but early in my comedy career, I saw her like at some AV club thing. And afterwards, I was like, I don't want to be that guy, but I love you. And can I give you a hug? And she was like, yeah. And she gave me, like, she was like this, and I gave her a hug. I was like, it was as if I was hugging my family. And she was just like, okay.
But she is very special, man. Margaret's very special. I've known Margaret for over 30 years, and she's very special.
I love her work. She's funny.
And she
best.
found that. TV wasn't the thing for her. Clearly, it's not for everybody. But the fact that she found herself and then is able to just be so smart and to open to a lot of things that were almost taboo. As an Asian, almost in any culture, that if someone is homosexual, that is considered. I'm not against everyone. It's not against everyone. People that don't agree with it, especially in Latino community, all the cultures, man.
Yeah.
And it's a very difficult thing because if you are, you are. And, it causes a rift in the family and the fathers and the moms and the brothers and the sisters. And that just doesn't make it easier on somebody that you love. And now all of a sudden, if they come out, they lose it. They're hurt. Now they're hurting. They're trying to be themselves, but then they're hurting because they've come out, and everybody that is supposed to love them is looking at them like, what did we do wrong? You didn't do anything wrong.
Did you
Not
talk
in
to
my-
my dad? What's going on? Did you guys speak? Oh, I thought you were dad.
But you know what? Because I and comedy's the perfect place for it. And even actors, in movies in the 50s that were a little bit, they called it like fey, or little fey.
Yeah.
Were getting the biggest laughs.
Yeah.
And then if they found out that they were, what are they, gay? That there was a guy that, I forget the actor. He was walking across the street in New York. Casting director saw him and said, "I love your face." And then a guy said, "Oh, I'm breaking it in for a friend." And the dude started laughing. He's like, "Wait, I got to get your number." He came down here, got work as an actor, but clearly was not straight. And they said to him, they brought him into the studio head, and they said, "You can work forever, but you can't be seen with a man. We have to set you up with a woman."
I wish someone said that to me. I would have taken the deal. I'm like, no one's offered that to me. Literally, no one's offering that to me.
When you come to town,
I'm like, hello. I'm ready to sell my boyfriend of 7 years out. Like, you could be the cleaning boy.
And he would have been able to continue, but he said no, and he became an interior designer, and the interior designer to the stars, and he worked forever.
Oh, good for
Billy
him.
Sheehan, I think might be his name. Billy Shear or Billy Sheehan. But, this, I think the world view of it, did your life become easier when you came out?
Way harder. It was way harder. It's interesting because externally, my life was way easier when I was in the closet, obviously, because you just paint by the numbers and you just. It's a lot of what I see now is how I felt before I came out, was just so scared that I didn't want to disrupt anything. Like, just keep everything, make sure no one's questioning. I would go out with my straight friends and they'd all be like, let's go dance up on these girls. And I would be like dancing with these girls, having a great time because I love to dance.
Right.
But also I'm like, you're better than him, and I'm like, I'm cock blocking, and I'm like, I'm sorry, guys, like, I love you and you're my friends, but these are women and I have to protect them. So
Exactly.
It didn't go well. So I finally had to come out, and my friends were like, that makes sense. This is why you kept
How old
cock
were you when
blocking
you
me.
came out?
I came out to my family at 30, but I came out to my friends earlier, like 27.
Earlier, but I'm like, man, 27 years.
I was evangelical, I was speaking in tongues, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I now, after I came out, I was doing different things with tongues. It just unholy stuff, And when you're gay and you're in church, all that stuff that they say, they're like, you're gonna go to hell for, it becomes almost fetishized, because you're like, you can't do this, you can't do that, in Catholicism too, Latinos, you experience that as well. It's all this shame and pressure around something. So what should just be natural becomes almost fetishized and demonized, and it's
Right.
ooh,
I was with somebody yesterday, and they said, after I leave here, I'm going to have lunch with my gay friend. And I said, how about when Chicanos see each other, they look at each other across the room, and they go like this. And if you have a friend that's gay, and he sees you across the room, they go, ah!
yeah.
And I'm just like, hey, over here.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you love to just have people happy to see you?
Just screaming.
Even if you went to hell, all your friends would be like, ah! Flames all around. They're like, oh, we're over here. On fire.
Yeah, all the gays are in hell too. So you know what I mean? You're all like, yes, it's a party.
Everybody, everybody's telling everybody how to live, but yet nobody wants to look at their own fucking lives.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. I'm not like everybody else. I've got a 44-year-old son. He came out probably when he was early 20s, I guess. And I just told the wife, does it really surprise you? And if that's the worst thing.
Did you know or not know?
I felt it. I felt it. He was always just a little soft. And
When you saw him in the morning,
He was well moisturized.
What about when you say,
His
good morning,
elbows were
good
really-
morning, mijo? He was,
Daddy!
I remember as a kid, I remember asking, why do you have to talk like that? I do remember questioning him.
What was he talking like?
Like a gay guy.
Yeah. Like effeminate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I said, just talk right, son. It's all right.
Talk right.
And I didn't, I'd hear that.
Yeah.
But then I remember coming back. I'd been in Panama for 2 weeks teaching. I come back. The wife met me at the airport. The kids were there. We were in separate cars. And I started the car. My wife, just the wife and I in the car. She said, stop. I got to get it off my chest. And she started crying. And the first thing in my mind was, oh, fuck, what did I do now?
Yeah.
And she said, I said, what is it? She says, your son came out of the closet. And I just told her, I said, and? And is that it? I said, is it what I wanted for my son? Absolutely not, because it'll make life more difficult for him in the future. But I love my son. He's not into dope. He's not being arrested. He's not a criminal. That's my son. And I support anything he wants to do.
Yeah. And then she told you he was a bottom.
I take back everything.
Not in my house.
All right, so there's different, apparently different departments.
I'm totally kidding.
Of gay. My son is gay. What department is he in? Brace yourself. He's a bottom.
Oh.
The bottom is explain. You know, what do
You know what a bottom is, George. Gino, you know what a bottom is.
What was I asked him to explain? Oh, defunding the police. Explain to the listeners. This is a defund the police of gay.
Okay.
Explain the bottom to people who would hear I'm a top. Is it?
All right. Is this my camera?
La 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 la.
Is it almost like I remember it used to be pitcher or catcher?
Yeah, that's what it
It's
was.
the same thing.
Oh.
Pitcher and catcher. Okay, should we just demonstrate it?
There you go, George.
He'll get up out of the.
Listening with
Let me
children.
use your
You know what they
cave.
say, show don't tell. No, the bottom is the person that is receiving
Okay.
the D.
catcher.
Yeah, the catching the D or receiving or hosting the D.
Okay.
You know, and
They're not the other. They don't go like sometimes in Little League, if a guy didn't have the glove, you'd leave it out there, and then he'd pick it up and use it, and then you'd leave it out there again. Can you rotate top and bottom, or the bottom of
that's
bottom?
We
you
had
are if
that.
you're versatile. Oh,
We had those in the jail. Really. When I was working the jails.
The sheriffs?
Yeah. No, well, not with the sheriff, the inmates.
No, I'm-
They had the gay cells,
Well, yeah.
all the gays there. And
I think that's where I would want to be in the gay cell. because
isn't
that-
every
the
cell
studs-
in prison a gay cell? What are we
the
talking
The
studs-
about?
potential. What can we do to this room?
they had them segregated. The studs,
The studs, yes.
those were the
tops.
pitchers.
Yeah.
Those are the pitchers. And the rest of them were the catchers.
Yeah.
But they had to be separated. Otherwise, like a little whorehouse. Everybody was having a good time.
Yeah. Can I ask you,
Yes.
were they separated by like
By
hair
height.
color, height,
No, by
like
what
attitude?
they said. What they said.
Oh, how
Yeah.
they claimed.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
it didn't. No, there was no like kind of definitive.
No.
markings.
Some were obvious. Some of them were obviously.
markings.
I just want to know how to tell what a top looks like. In
Yeah,
jail.
some of them
like
were
immediately
very
without
obvious.
having- like penis size. wise.
Well, no.
Oh.
Even in jail, they would get red, not crayon markers.
Red markers.
Yeah, and they'd get a hold of them and put makeup on themselves. They'd get tank tops,
then
what are
they got
wife
like a-
beaters. Wife beaters. They'd get them and they'd cut them and they'd tie them up here to make them look like feminine.
Crop tops.
Crop tops.
You know what I heard?
Wow.
I
That's
just
so
got a
creative.
text
They
that
would squish.
I love
I just got a
that.
text that
Arts
the
and crafts.
L.A. Sheriff's Department at the county jail has just opened up a Sephora
Oh hell yeah!
where guys
See?
make their own makeup.
That's great. They got alerts for that.
This is why you don't defund the police.
Yeah.
But as I hate to say racism is too easy a term. As people have bias towards each other, why? I mean, I saw something that you were at Second City. My daughter got into Second City.
It's wonderful.
Did someone yell something out about Mexicans in Second City to you?
Oh my God! Yes, it was crazy. I mean, people were yelling all kinds of crazy shit.
But
all
it's
the
an
time.
improv thing, right? So it's not it's not necessarily it would be a racist
What is
environment.
Second City?
Second
Educate
City
me.
is the oldest comedy troupe, maybe the oldest comedy troupe in Chicago. It's where John Belushi and Bill Murray and all of the great SNL, like a pipeline
Sure.
from
Yeah.
Second City, go to Saturday Night Live. And it's the most prestigious, I think, you could get into and be a performer in comedy.
The first time I heard it, but no, I'm just kidding.
No, but you know that. It's,
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
it's like getting
it's
into Harvard. If Harvard had a department of comedy,
Yeah.
getting into Second City, because it's not easy, and you audition, then you have to audition again, and you have to get in. If you get in,
Yeah.
it's very prestigious.
It was it was a really big show in Chicago, and it was a time right when the end of like election stuff was happening. Right, it was like we opened in April, and the election was in November, and it was we can tell from and at that time the theater, it's summertime. There's a lot of people visiting. So it's not, it was a theater that was open to a lot of tourists, not per se Chicagoans.
Right.
But anyway, you get like a litmus test when you do like a big theater. Like
Right.
you have a litmus test of like who's visiting Chicago and what America feels like at that point. And there was a lot of stuff happening. And that particular night, we do this improv piece where we like ask for a suggestion of something that annoys you, and then we do like a big like whatever. And I was the person who went out and was like, "Sir, what's something small that annoys you?" And it was a white guy and his wife and a Mexican couple next to them, and they were like, he just looked up and he was like, sitting next to a Mexican.
Holy shit.
And I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I like screamed at him and told and I looked at our stage manager, our house manager. I was like, "What the fuck?" And we had talked about these racist comments happening before, and we had multiple meetings about like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna like make sure we feel safe and the audience feels safe and blah blah blah. And it's just like an ugly thing that we don't have to deal with, like And anyway, so that was like my straw when I was like, I don't want to keep doing stuff like this where. When I could just do stand up and be up there alone with the microphone.
Right.
That's way more fun for me. And that's when like I turned from like doing sketch comedy and improv to just like full time doing things on my own. And I never have to like open myself up to like, what do you think, audience member? Like that's like the worst thing a comic could do is like offer
ask a question that you don't have a response for.
But also it tells you about somebody who is running for an office who has made it okay for you to call other people out.
Yeah, and be like flippantly joking about something that is a real problem. And and it just felt ugly and it was time to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the election of that, I was at Foxwoods in Connecticut, and I had mine with me when I had flown out there. My daughter, who was at Second City, and some dude yells out to me, "Go back to Mexico."
No.
Toward the end of the fucking thing, and I said, "Who said that?" And there was some guy in the aisle, and you don't want to blow up the whole show, and you're just like, whatever I said, and it's just, at a time when you had been doing it for so long, like I'm saying, as I look back, and. I'm not. I love stand-up. I always have. But I don't want to leave at a time when it's a bad time.
Yeah.
If you leave in a down market, you don't want to leave when it's on an up.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that guys who I wouldn't say follow in my footsteps, but are of the same particular color have taken up for the people the way that they not that they're responsible to. But I think that we have an array of different comedians who are of color who that doesn't mean anything to them. And it meant everything to me that I spoke up for people who couldn't speak up for themselves. Instead, you have, guys who never want to, I think the election, you saw it, where guys would back off against issues and not say anything in their act about anything. And just try to be liked. Even on Instagram, there's a lot of tremendous amount of Latino entertainers who went silent during all of that time, and still are.
Because they didn't want to lose gigs.
They didn't want to lose their gigs. They didn't want to lose potential followers. But what do you leave? I mean, when I picked a side and was anti-right, is when I started to receive death threats. Not that it frightens me. Fuck, I don't give a fuck about death threats. They're all pussies anyways.
Can I tell you I'm sure you've received way more than me, just because you're more famous. But I did receive one recently that was so funny. It was after someone watched some dumb video I did for PBS, and they said,
"Wait a minute, PBS doesn't do dumb videos. What was it?"
It was like I'll share it later.
Okay.
It was like a thing about like how this was literally in 2016. I said it was about how white supremacy is not what we all think it is. It's like KKK and blah blah. It's very like small micro stuff. Like when you ask, when people ask me, "Where are you from?" and instead you would never ask a white person, "Where are you from?" Because you just think they deserve to be here. Whereas you're always kind of encroaching. You're like, "Can I be at the party?" Like you're always like looking in, like, "Can I be here?" Anyway, I did it way funnier than that. Anyway, so Judy Woodruff laughed, and that was my career. And
Woodruff's awesome. Yeah.
But anyway, because of that video, I get a lot of these death threats, and one of them was, you, can I say faggot?
Yeah.
You faggot, I'm going to take my broomstick and shove it up your ass. Which I thought was the gayest thing to say.
Wow, that
you know what I
doesn't sound
mean?
that bad.
I would say how far.
That doesn't sound that bad.
Yeah, I'm like,
just lube it up first.
yeah, I mean, sure, it's a little thin for my taste. But I'm all about the girth. But, you know, we'll start
I'm
somewhere.
all about the girth. I'm 5 inches, but some guys like it that thick.
Yeah.
Hey, I've always said I'm hung like a tuna can. I don't fuck 'em, I plug 'em.
It's like a bathtub plug.
Yeah.
Those things you
Is this really going out on the air?
Is this live?
I think we just got
It's
the
not like-
title.
Oh, my God.
But was that on Instagram or mailed to you?
It was on my website. I finally closed down my contact me, because I'm like, why are you contacting me?
Right.
I just did it because I saw other websites have a contact me, but anyway, so people started emailing me crazy shit, and I shut that down. And then people reach out to me on Instagram and say,
But also, if you are concerned with what people think of you, you will never have a career. You will never be identified. You will never be at peace.
No.
You know, I've said things that have warranted a visit from the Secret Service.
Ooh.
And nothing would make me silence unless they came back and literally took me away in cuffs because I kept doing it. I've decided that the people that aren't going to like you anyways, and trying to make everybody, somebody said, I mean, the guy was a rapist, but somebody said, I can't tell you what the secret to success is, but the secret to failure is trying to make everyone happy.
Donald Trump said that?
Yeah. It was more. Wait a minute. I think.
But George doesn't realize I'm an
getting-
informant for the
I'm just
Secret
getting-
Service. That's the only reason I'm
I'm
here.
getting a call. Hang on a second.
What I said was that trying to do the thing.
All right, I hung up on him. Don't call here. But there is no one fucking way to make it. The only way to make it is to be you, and part of being you is all of those things. Yeah. As a police officer, I remember a friend of mine was a hired patrolman, and he pulled over somebody right there off the 101.
That's not the guy that liked beef sticks.
No, that was over in Santa Clarita. That was the my culo.
Yeah.
But this guy went up behind the car, and as he walked up behind the car, the guy was turned this way so early that he looked at him and said, "I'm gonna go around to the right side of the car." Mm-hmm. And the dude had a gun.
Sure.
Like this. But I said, "What made you do that?" He goes, "I had an instinct, but also the dude was turned this way too early." And I thought, well, that's not a good thing. And then he couldn't see me because of the blind spot in the thing. And I went around this side, and he was like this, like he'd have fucking shot him.
Whoa.
If you look at a lot of, and that's a good thing, one-man cars do that often. Put that light in the mirror, their rear mirror, so they can't see, and then come around the right side.
Right.
You
see that? Put that light in the mirror.
Yeah.
And they can't see in the mirror.
It's a good safety
But
thing.
instincts are a proper thing to follow.
Ladies and gentlemen, Father's Day is just around the corner. I don't know about you. I come from a pretty sort of hairy lineage myself, which is why we're excited to talk to you again about our friends at Manscaped. So Manscaped is designed with fathers in mind, not just this time of the year, but all year round. And the Performance Package 4.0 is here just in time for that special day, Father's Day. I'll tell you what's in the package. First, they have their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, which is a Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer, a Crop Preserver ball deodorant, Crop Reviver toner, performance boxer briefs, and a travel bag to hold all those goodies in. First off, let me start by saying the Lawnmower 4.0 will be the official MVP of Father's Day. It's a 4th generation trimming technology that they're working with now. It's got a cutting edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. It's got advanced skin safe technology. It's waterproof. It even has a 400K LED spotlight for a very, very precise, beautiful, perfect shave. We all know dads love their comfort. It's the summer, it's hot. The Boxers 2.0, which this also comes with, are here to save every father from that uncomfortable heat. Dads, buy this for yourself. Sons, buy this for your dad. Ladies, buy this for your man. And dog daddies, you guys deserve a treat too, okay? So get 20% off plus free shipping with the code OMGHI at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code OMGHI. Shake what your mama gave you? No, shake what your daddy gave you. Support for the Oh My God Hi podcast is brought to you in part by Medterra. Medterra was a group founded by friends passionate about bringing CBD to those who love it most. If you haven't heard of CBD, and where have you been, frankly, it can promote relaxation, sleep, and a slew of other benefits. Topicals like the hemp-infused Manuka cream and on-the-go pain relief roll help you balance your skin and body and mind. They also have tasty sweets like the full-spectrum deep sleep gummies to support your journey in finding deep restorative sleep that helps you lead to a rejuvenated day. Sleep is very important, people. Modern life is so busy that we often put our recovery and things like rest sort of at the back of the line, even though these things should be our first priority. Health is wealth. You know what I'm saying? Medterra has designed high-quality, accessible, and easy-to-incorporate wellness solutions like their Manuka cream and pain relief roll-on to support that sort of daily wellness. So I'm a CBD fan myself. I think this stuff is super effective, super powerful. I love this brand. We've been working with them for a little bit, and it's easy to use, it's low cost, it's high quality, and it's just sort of everything you want out of a product like this. It has industrial hemp grown in America and is U.S. Hemp Authority certified. That's right, they've got the certification. And all the products are third-party tested, non-GMO, and contain organic ingredients and are even grain-free. So, OMG HI listeners, get 30% off and free shipping on their order with Medterra. Go to medterra.com/OMGHI and enter code OMGHI at checkout. That's medterra.com/OMGHI and enter code OMGHI at checkout for 30% off and free shipping.
Now, when did you decide to move from the East Coast to Los Angeles?
It took a little.
Because that's a big deal. Because you have to say, like, okay, I think I'm good enough to be able to go to LA and start working. But when you get here, you realize as a comedian how fucking big the city is. And then of course you're gonna go to the Laugh Factory and you're gonna pass by the Comedy Store and they're gonna look fucking huge. You're gonna be like, oh my God, it's the Comedy Store. That's the Improv, and they're gonna look like places that you could never get into.
Yeah.
And a bit, it's your almost like your eyes are too big for your stomach. Like you're like, how am I, as a comedian, gonna try to make a career out of places where at the Comedy Store everybody's names who's ever worked there, the biggest names in comedy, have been there. Like how am I gonna make an impression in this town? But to move here I think it's overwhelming for a comedian.
Absolutely. I regretted it immediately. But I grew up in New York and I started comedy in SF actually. I spent 7 years in tech.
That was a good move.
What is SF?
San Francisco.
Oh.
And I didn't go into comedy at first. I finished college and I became a data scientist for Yahoo. So I was doing that for 7 years, making like a great living, nouveau riche, just like fucking up San Francisco and like kicking out poor people, like being the douchebag. And I was like, I hate my life. I was still in the closet. So when I came out actually at a open mic, because it was my second open mic, and I remember thinking like,
bro, that's big, man. That's huge, man. I mean, has anybody ever come out on stage?
Gerard Carmichael just did in his special.
Oh.
Yeah.
And he had never done it before until the special?
I believe so, yeah.
Wow.
It was like a huge deal.
Yeah.
So, he stole from me. But no, I'm kidding. I was
But you have to say, like, here we go. You have to say to yourself, here we go.
This is going to change everything.
Here we go, yeah.
And I knew that the anonymity that and the protection of a shitty bar in San Francisco in the Richmond district and it stunk. It was a dive bar and it was me up there with 6 other comedians in the crowd just looking at their own notebooks or their phone. It was just so, I knew that was the place I had to do it because I knew that it would be the safest. I didn't know anyone there. Right. So anonymity felt safe in that way. So I came out, I said, well, I'm Peter and I'm gay. And people just looked at me like, okay, you're Asian and you're gay in San Francisco.
So
Do you have a joke? You know, where's the
They're like,
punchline?
next, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's your setup, and I felt so liberated at that moment where I was like, oh, I'm holding on to this. Like this is me, and I had all these ideas of like, if only my family, if only this, if only that, but I'm the one holding on to this thing,
Right.
so I have to be the one to let it down. And that's when everything changed, and I started doing comedy, and I quit my job and moved out to Chicago to do Second City, and I moved out here in the fall of 2017. And that's when everything was done with Second City, and I was like, it's time to go to LA.
Wow.
And and now I'm here with
It
you
changed
guys.
everything, didn't it? It really did. Once you were able to do that, you were free, right? You felt
Free.
you had to feel like you were, like I don't know what it's like to feel like a weight's been lifted off of you, but you had to feel like you're not going back to a place where you're going to go on stage and say you're not gay.
Yeah.
From going forward, you would
I have
now
to be honest.
approach it as you would be yourself now. You
Exactly.
would find things that,
and I don't think I would have gotten there eventually, but I don't think I would have gotten there as quickly if not for comedy.
Right.
Because comedy, I think what it did for me and everyone else who does it is it forces you to be yourself, your voice, and
Right.
and claim your voice.
Yeah.
And before I came out, I was pretending to be someone, and everybody knew. Like the whole audience, they're like sharks. You know,
Yeah,
like
they know.
they know immediately that you're bullshitting. Like if you ever see like a comic try to do like some premise that he like saw someone else doing and wants to, it's so obvious that that's not coming from you, and that's what made me come out, because I wanted to be better at comedy.
Right.
And that meant, and just being a better artist in general just means be more yourself.
right.
And be more confident with yourself and who you are. And so, yeah, comedy saved my life.
I mean, there you go.
I have fun with it. I really do. And I know George heard the story. My son, I was doing some ring announcing at boxing matches one day, and he comes up to me, and one of my daughter's friends had just had breast augmentation. Nice. And so my son comes up to me and he says, "Hey, Dad, she showed me her Hooters." And she was showing them to the girls, and she said, "Well, I can show them to you because you're gay." I said, "Son, go back and tell her your dad's gay too." I want to take a look at him. So it did make a difference. My son, I love him. He's good.
But you know, the
I think I'm lesbian, right?
do they do? Is there a way to enhance your penis? Didn't they have a pump that would make blood come out? It's almost
They
like
still
It
have
doesn't
that.
work. I tried it.
but like you're trying to get the most amount of blood to the tip, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like at Carnival when you have the mallet and you're trying to hit it to ring the bell. You're trying to get the blood to rush to the tip. Wait a minute, hang on a second.
I've tried them all.
Wait, somebody's calling. You're trying to get the blood to the tippy tip.
He knows
Don't
just
stop
when to
calling.
call.
and it rings the bell like at 62, my dick is like Buddy Holly's plane, like it's like it goes down, the fucking wings like this, like
It's like that plane
and
running
you're
out of the
trying-
runway.
You're trying to fucking get it just level, and it just fucking crashes there. Just, I mean,
I don't want to tell you, I'm 72, George. George, I'm 72.
You're 72?
I'm 72.
Maybe I just don't
Wow.
want to give it to anybody. I mean, you can't lead a horse to water. You can't force a dick into a hole. Wait a minute. Hang on a second.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah. I think I
Hang
can.
on a second.
Again?
This is coming from Graceland. Oh, man, I can't believe it. Wrong number.
connection.
You can't lead a horse to water, and you can't put
A dick into a hole?
a tepid dick into a hole.
Oh, yes.
A tepid?
It's like trying to. What they say is like trying to play pool with a noodle. Fucking, but I mean, the mind is.
My mind is fresh.
You know what a guy told me years ago? He was in a band, and I had just gotten married, and he said, "I want to give you some advice. You just got married." He goes, "Make sure your dick gets as hard for home games as it does for away games, because when you're on the road, everything's new to you and everything's fresh and new." And then you get home, and now you're almost like on appointment. And sometimes you can't perform at home because the excitement of being out is more. The allure of it is better than, being in a bed and like, okay, we're gonna do it in this thing.
For a second, I thought you were talking about comedy, but it works both ways. I think.
I think it might work both ways.
Yeah. Because they say that on the road you get like.
Is comedy would comedy be the top or the bottom?
Comedy's always the top. Pretending to
And
be
the
a bottom.
audience is the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
The audience is the bottom. Yeah, but however, there's when you're on the road or you're doing whatever, there's more time. There's way too much time that's vacant than there's a time on the stage, and there has to be somebody. You have to stay connected to what you love, or else you go rogue, man.
Are you still on the road? Do you do the road?
Yeah, I do. I'm still doing some stuff.
Yeah. Do you still enjoy it?
I do.
Yeah.
I just went back east to White Plains or Westchester, Montclair, and then Westbury, which I love Westbury. It's in the round and all that stuff. But yeah, it's very good.
And I'm not kissing his ass, but he's still great.
Oh, I'm sure.
Not here, but I mean, I've gone to see him.
He's not great here.
I'm not great. but
He's still learning here.
But I know what. I've been around so long. I know what I'm talking about. And I've seen great people not achieve success. I've seen people who aren't that good become successful, but not respected. And whatever you do in comedy, the best thing to do is to be true to yourself.
Yeah.
In whatever that is, and whatever your truth is, whatever the universe does, it rewards somebody who's being honest. So imagine being one of a million lights, and then one light turns red. That's you. And the red light makes it, and the white lights just become other white lights.
Wow.
And the only way that you can become a red light is to fucking give a fuck about where you are and who you are and what you do and who you're doing it to, I think.
Do I have a shot?
Yeah. Fuck yeah, you get 4 more, you pass Momo. Fucking Momo's only got 6 fucking jokes. You got 4 already. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, you have to and you know that you're going to get better, and that you get better. The voiceovers, do you like the animation? You like?
I love it.
Yeah.
I love the animation jobs. I write for one now.
How did you get your first animation job?
My first one was Fairfax, the Amazon show, and
just on an audition, you got called in. All right, good.
Yeah, I think a more famous person dropped out or something because I'm a nobody. I came here and I did NCIS, the thing that every actor has to get under your belt and get and then I did my comedy dream was to do Curb Your Enthusiasm. And of course, I get it, and I improvise with Larry and John Hamm in this wonderful scene. And then I'm telling everyone, yes, I did it. I reached my comedy dream, and I'm like, yeah, let's watch it. And I'm completely cut out of it. The whole scene, the whole tag of the scene was cut out, and I was like, oh my god, it was mortifying. But it was one of those it happens to everyone.
Do you still count as doing? I think.
You'd still get paid, and
so I was
credited.
on Curb Your Enthusiasm, and I was on one of what is considered maybe one of the best episodes.
Oh,
the
really?
episode where they revealed that Richard Lewis needed a kidney, and they go to the doctor, and that there's the doctor's daughter, and it's I don't know what it's called, but it's considered one of the best. Heineman, the Dr. Heineman, one of the best episodes of Curb, and. Stephen Kojo, the guy from E.T., fell out, and I had just had my transplant in 2005, and I had just played golf with Larry the week before, and just like in Curb, Larry calls me, and I go, hello, and he goes, what the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? I just saw you last week. What the fuck? You didn't say anything? I said, well, I didn't want anybody to know, but it's a kidney transplant. What the fuck? And then he said, Kojo fell out. Would you consider filling back in for him? And what was it called?
The episode is called The Ski Lift.
The Ski Lift.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
And they ran into me in the hallway, and they said, you had a transplant, did you? I said, yeah. He goes, Richard Lewis needs a transplant. I was like, oh, man, that's pretty bad. And then Larry goes, isn't he going to go on the bottom of the list? I said, yeah, he's fucked. I said, if it was Richard Lewis from 20 years ago, I think he's on the top of the list. But Richard Lewis nowadays, he's fucked. Nobody knows who he is. And then they go, all right, thanks, Jordan. Take it easy, man. I signed an autograph. But I mean, Larry, you see those guys. And,
yeah.
I mean, you know that when you envision growing up and you're looking in your TV and you see people that you truly admire, if you ever get to see one, I would always say with your own eyes, it's one of the most fucking incredible things that could happen to anybody. Who have you seen that you said like, oh my God, I can't believe
Larry
that?
David, for sure.
Yeah.
That was like it for me. I didn't really. I grew up on Seinfeld, you know, Thursday nights, NBC. Like, I was a latchkey kid. You know, like TV raised me.
Right.
So like I'm a huge fan of TV and. Just to be able to do it, I don't care that I was cut out. Honestly, like it was a couple of jokes and it was funny, but like just the experience alone was.
But the idea of being raised by a TV which is what you did, which is what I did.
Sure.
I'm not sure.
There's a lot of TV.
But now you couldn't get a kid to sit in front of a TV, I think, and do what because they're into the games and they're in the phone.
They're raised by iPads now.
There's a program right now that we're hooked on, and we watch it all the time in the house.
What's it called?
Apologetically, I
yes
don't know the name of it, but it's a Korean show.
Oh yeah.
About a market, you know, the
Kim's Convenience?
Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Great.
Have you seen all 7 episodes?
I've seen more than that. It's a great show. I love it.
Is it still on?
I think it ran for like 5 seasons. I think just put
They
out
ran
its
for a
last
while,
season.
yeah. But I think
many episodes
It's
have
a funny show. It's really good. It's all Korean market.
Yeah.
Really good.
I think there's actually 2 Koreans on the show. But, you know, that's how it always is. That happened to Margaret Cho's show. You know, I'm determined to make the first Korean-American family
I think there's
with
more
Korean.
than just 2. The mother, the father, the son, and
The son's Chinese.
Oh,
Simu
okay.
Liu.
Because he's gone on to bigger things now.
Okay.
Yeah. And the cousin is, I think, Filipino or Southeast Asian.
Okay, let's talk about this. Let's talk about if you say you're a Latino and you have a Mexican family, and then one of the persons is Cuban, one of the persons Honduran, and one of the persons is from Colombia, would be like if Korean, and then you have a Filipino, you have a Cambodian guy, and they're not. Is it an issue, you think, in the community?
It's interesting. I think today there are enough of us working where we can cast it accurately.
Yeah.
I think 20 years ago, it was hard to cast all Korean or all, whatever. Like,
how many episodes did they do?
65 episodes.
That's a
over
lot.
5 seasons for Kim's Convenience.
Yeah. It was on CBS, wasn't it?
It was.
It was a Canadian.
So CBC.
Yeah.
Oh, it was on Canadian.
Yeah.
CBC.
And then I think Netflix
like their biggest show or
distributed
What
it.
about Fresh Off the Boat? Was a show that had some momentum, and
I didn't like. What?
I'm not sure.
It was a Chinese family, Randall Park, Korean guy, head of the family. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And
Does it matter? Does it matter to you?
It matters to me as the storyteller. Now, when you break it down as like a business, we got to make business decisions. I understand that, but I think for me, when I'm casting my Korean family show, they're gonna need to be Korean. Like, we're gonna be able to. I want the joy of being able to like have that shorthand with each other. That culturally creates for better comedy because there's better specificity there.
Exactly what he said. So on my first show, I'm Mexican American. Valente was from Texas, Mexican. Lewis is Mexican from Chicago. Constance was playing Cuban, playing my wife Angie, Mexican, but okay. And then my father-in-law was Cuban. My mom was Mexican. So when Valente first started to do the no que no vamos, no que no, like all the little slang things, and then I started to do the slang things, it gave the body of the show a life that was different than the average, because I would go what's that, all that stuff, and it became like it hooked people to say, oh my God, that's what
it's authentic,
and it was authentic. So I agree on that point that if you have an array of cultures into a thing that was supposed to be specifically one family, that you lose those things, and those things were so important to my show, 30 episodes from 30 to 120, that I'm not sure if I was surrounded by people who weren't of my necessarily ethnicity, that the show would have suffered. So I agree with you.
I agree with that now. I didn't understand it when I was a kid, when you had all these old shows where they had people playing American Indians that weren't Indians. Yeah. They put makeup on them. White people playing Mexicans, all this fake shit, and I didn't realize it when I was a kid growing up, because that was just that. Now I look at it.
Did you realize that Charlie Chan or Mickey Rooney with those glasses, how insulting as a family back then, did your family watch American TV and see those things like the Charlie Chan or Mickey Rooney playing that? Or
I'm like first gen.
but you've seen those things, right?
I've seen them literally. I didn't know about Charlie Chan until I went to college and took a class. Like I grew up watching only Korean TV.
Yeah.
I don't know how like first gen Mexican Americans are, but like
Korean
we
TV,
only
and they
watch
spoke
TV.
Korean, and you were
I only
fluent?
spoke Korean until I was 6.
Oh, wow,
So
man.
I was ESL. I was born in New York, and
were
I was
KSL?
ESL. Yeah. ESL.
ESL, English as a second language, yeah.
And it was so weird to have to go to ESL classes when all these kids were from Korea. And I was from the Bronx. And it's like, this kid can't even speak English. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
Right.
Because no one in my family spoke English. Everyone acted like we were still in Korea.
Wow.
You know, and because it was the first generation of people to come over as a diaspora.
Wow.
You know, we haven't been here that long, like 70s, maybe 60s, 70s.
Help this Mexican out. What's a diaspora?
Diaspora is like the
It's a cocktail that you get that they light it on fire, then you blow it out.
Yeah, diaspora is what I get when I eat bad shellfish. But
Oh, what does it mean? What does that mean?
it means a group of people that have come out of a country. So Jewish diaspora is spread all over America and Europe.
Have you ever heard the
blah,
word
blah.
diaspora?
I never have. That's why I asked.
That's
I thought you had to
okay,
go
fucking
to the
nerd alert.
pharmacy.
Yeah, I was beaten into knowing those words.
You had to go to the pharmacy to get that shit.
So that's right, and they haven't been that long, from like the 70s and things like that.
Yeah.
And what issues did your parents have only speaking Korean in the Bronx?
Well, you know, mostly it was us getting evicted by people who were like, you're late on rent. But that's the only time we ever spoke to anyone who spoke English.
And they went to the store and they saw what they liked, and so there wasn't
because
a lot
there
of
was like
communication.
Korean markets.
Yeah, okay.
There was like an infrastructure, a lot of
Right.
church Koreans.
Yeah.
So people hung out at church together, and that became your social circle. And Koreans have this thing called ketton, which is like for lack of a better phrase, it's like a black market economy where like families get together and put in like $10,000
Yes.
each.
Oh,
you know
yes.
what that is?
Okay, yeah. Can
You guys have
explain
that?
to it? No, we have where you put in 10,000 and the next guy takes it.
Next guy takes it.
Yeah, and then
then
fucking
the
runs
next-
off. and buys rims for his car.
Yeah. And he shows up the next month like, what's that?
the fucking car goes up, it goes down.
Yeah.
But you know what? They help each other. That's
it's
the
like
thing.
that's what we do. That's what immigrants do. Is like we create a counterculture, a subculture of people,
and it's honest,
that-
right? So that you put money in there, and then you get the money, and your family benefits from it, and then another family will get it.
Yeah.
And it's
a way to do loans.
The Asian
without-
community where I live, that's what they do to buy all the property. That's
Yeah.
what they do to buy houses out there.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
What are you saying? That your area's turning chinito?
What's your area?
I'm not afraid to say it. I live out in Rolling Heights. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I have one American market there. Everything else is.
You mean at Rolling
Chinese.
Heights there's only
All
one
Asian.
American market?
Yes. Yes. Everything else is. Even McDonald's has Asian writing on the side.
Yeah,
Under it's all
What's
Asian.
writing? I'm not sure.
And I don't know what I don't know.
one from each country.
You know, I don't know what they call it, but
So you write in Korean as well?
I read, write. I'm fluent. Yeah.
I read write in Spanish and Mexican, but I mean it's an all Asian community out there where I live.
Yeah.
And I can remember when it wasn't, but that's all it is. If I've experienced where I wanted to buy another house over there,
Yeah.
I couldn't even get a return call.
Here, you call me and I'll hook you up.
Because
Were the
You gotta
landlords
get-
Korean?
all this, the realtors were all Asian,
Yeah. Speaking Asian.
There you go.
and they did not.
So
they
speaking
didn't
Asian.
care. They
But
didn't
you know, the
care.
racism before, now it's out in the open. But racism used to be where maybe you and I went to go look at a car, and then we'd go, "Hey, how you doing? I saw your ad in the paper." And the person would go, "Oh, sorry, man, I just sold the car yesterday." But
Yeah.
isn't that it right there? No, that's another one. And the racism was covert,
Yeah.
where they would say, "We're here to look at the apartment," and they would say, "Oh, I rented that apartment." And then now they would say, "I'm not renting that apartment to a fucking wetback." And then you'd be
yeah.
like, "Oh, okay." And then now you get right. Now you're into it.
It's almost we went backwards.
We went backwards.
Yeah, because it used to be this like stupid, like go back to your country, that kind of stuff. Like
Yeah.
I thought we elevated the conversation of racism,
And
we've stripped our education system. We don't know how to like make racism poetic again.
we're still shooting people because of the color of their skin. I mean, we should be so far beyond going into a market and shooting
should,
fucking
yeah,
people because of
certainly.
the color of their skin.
I know.
It's just that, and hate for hate. When the world is so open, man, and that this fucking a kid that's 18 would throw his fucking life away over some bullshit that was taught to him and that he didn't learn himself. Nobody at 18 could learn to hate that many people unless they're influenced by shit that they find on the internet or whatever.
Sure.
It's just impossible. Because by the time you start to realize who you are, you're probably 7. That's gonna take 11 years to hate people that much that you would write a 180-page manifesto. I don't even. If I talked about fucking, I couldn't write 180 pages. But it's sad, man, to think that that's where we are, man, and that those lives are all fucking been destroyed over some bullshit that's taught to people because they're stupid enough to get hooked by it.
I want to vote George Lopez editor for Hustler magazine now.
Yes.
I'll bring back the fucking beaver. I bring back Bush. I wouldn't bring back like the whole shave thing is not happening for me. Not that I've seen a pussy in a long time, but if I saw one, it's,
Same.
yeah,
I bet longer for me.
wait a minute. Wait a minute. We
You're
don't
like
know.
carried
We
it
don't know.
too. Yeah.
So how did you? Wait a minute. You don't know. Now, have you been in many relationships? I haven't, by the way.
No, I would not say many.
That worked out for me.
No, me neither. I
I
think
love
being a
I love
comic.
inanimate objects more than I love people.
Same. I think I have a problem. Kind of bending to others, and I'm learning that. You know what I mean? Like,
I know what you mean, bending.
Yeah. I said bending 2, not bending 4. I do that after 5. I've been with my partner for 7 years, and this is the longest relationship I've ever been in, and it's hard for me, and
Yeah.
I think maybe for everyone, but I find it very hard to think about another person because it is not the way I'm wired. So like I have to talk to my therapist and be like, how do I think about other people? Please help me.
And what does he say?
He says, well, sit down.
Well, you're not an only child, are you?
I'm the oldest child.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just selfish, and I know that's how I'm wired. So I have to like actually sit down and I have to make sure like, oh, Gil has feelings, and that's important.
Oh, wow.
And I have to know that Gil has feelings, so I don't hurt Gil's
Wow.
feelings.
Okay.
Instead of being like, well, I didn't know Gil had feelings, and I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? Like I have to practice it.
Or thinking
Well,
about
I got to tell you, I'm
Yeah.
a lucky man. I'll tell you right now, I've been married 51 years, and that's why I don't hang around with Grant.
You know better.
Grant's looking for love.
I'm single.
Are you Grant?
Are you dating anybody right now?
Not at the moment, no.
Oh, wow.
What's the longest relationship you've been in?
Also, not super long, like 8 months.
Okay.
8 months?
Yeah.
What's his name?
It's Taylor.
What are you the bottom or the top in a relationship? In your heterosexual relationship?
I'm the middle.
Or are you the emotional top or emotional bottom?
Oh, I'm definitely the emotional top.
Oh, you are? Okay. So you're looking for an emotional bottom.
I guess so. You know, I hadn't
Yeah.
put it in those terms, but I think that is what it is.
You're welcome. I'll send you a bill.
Wait a second.
Changing straight lives every day.
Hey, that's on the bottom of the
There
coast.
you go.
Changing straight lines every day. And where did you meet your? But you know, in a relationship like that, are you guys thinking like the rest of your lives together?
I haven't thought about it till just now.
Because you know, is it?
kidding.
I think even marriage could be an outdated.
It does feel outdated. We are domestic partners, which I did not realize was going to be so unceremonial. It was a $33 fee, and they sent us a Xerox copy of something they stamped. Nice. Wow. So it's just like hanging on our fridge, and it's so.
Is it the same as you went and got? Is it the same as it would be if you went to City Hall and got married? Or below that?
Wait, no.
Way
There's
below
no
that.
right. I mean, I can't. There's nothing I can do. But it was a way to declare our commitment to each other
okay.
without marriage per se.
Yeah.
And I don't know. We never really think about marriage as something that's like the next step or like this. Like it's nice to be with someone who we're just kind of present. Like
Right.
it's work. Like Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. Like it's working.
Okay, yeah,
it's great.
But you know,
It's beautiful.
is there the same type of thing in another relationship where if someone's not there, you would call them and say, "Hey, where are you? I was expecting you're out late or anything like that."
Oh, that's me.
Yeah.
I think I have abandonment issues, where like if he's not home by a certain time, I start thinking about like the worst possible scenario.
Yeah.
I start getting paranoid. I'm like, and if he doesn't pick up, I'm like, oh, he must be at the bottom of a thing. Or I used to do that with my mom when my mom would come home late from work.
Yeah.
I would start to spiral.
Were you a latchkey? What they said was a latchkey kid, right?
Latchkey kid.
Were you a latchkey kid? I think maybe you spent a lot of time alone. Huh?
Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the brain just goes wild.
I know, man. That shit was tough, man. Like my grandparents, there was only two people, and then me, my grandparents. And if for some reason they weren't there by like 5:30, I would flip the fuck out, man.
Yeah?
Like, you know, you're in this house and there's nobody there, and I would turn all the lights on because I was afraid, and then I would go wait outside because I didn't want to be in the house. I mean, I was scared.
Yeah.
And then they would pull up, and the first thing they would say is, "Why is every fucking light in the house on?" Not about, "Hey, you know, sorry we're late. You know, we didn't want to worry you." They didn't give a fuck about worrying me. They never even thought about me.
You know, it's interesting. Like I think about a lot. Now I'm 40 this year, so like I'm thinking about my parents a lot and mortality and all that kind of stuff. And I'm starting to realize that like my whole generation of my culture, Korean Americans, really fucked up in a way where they were so, and any immigrant generation of like, they were so worried about surviving that they fucked up the whole emotional part, you know. And my generation, we're trying to like kind of steer the ship and be like, okay, let me forgive you for that.
Okay, so
you didn't know.
They came here and they established themselves, but then in establishing their business, they
neglected.
They neglected the people and the family. that they had with them.
And I think because of that, even Koreans, when you were talking about like when two Chicanos see each other, they do this.
Yeah.
Like Koreans, men do that too. And that has a lot to do with, I think, us having a bad relationship with how we approach our emotions. And I'm trying to fix that with, you know, future generations if I do have kids, but I don't know if I'm ready to fix that
Is
yet.
your partner Korean?
He's white. I'm sorry. I saw your.
No,
I'm so sorry.
I think
What
that's the show.
happened?
I mean, do you have something written down?
He's a social climber.
Show idea? Yeah, I think the white dude's a social climber, huh?
Yeah.
A social climber.
What do they bring
I haven't
to the
heard that
relationship?
phrase since high school.
A social climber.
Gil, you're giving me slam book vibes right now.
Yeah. Slampa.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
No, you asked how we met. We met in Chicago at a show, and he was performing. Neither of us were performing.
But is he a comedian as well?
Yeah, he's a writer, and he does.
Okay.
He's really working on his music right now. His EP is being released soon. Like he's like one of those like annoying people who play 9 instruments. You know, like really gifted.
And probably music was in his family too, right?
Oh, they're like Partridge Family. Every time they get back together, they're playing together. And I'm the idiot just kind of like sitting there on a cajon, you know, like I'm like banging around and not being able to do much. But they're brilliant and wonderful people from Minnesota.
It's amazing, man. When
oh, you're from Minnesota?
Minnesota.
Are you really?
do you play an instrument?
Little guitar.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm from Andover,
Gil
Minnesota.
plays a little skin flute.
Oh, okay.
Where's his people from?
Minneapolis.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm familiar. Yeah, I was like a half hour north of there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, are you very like open with your family, or do you guys like to play board games?
Neither.
Shout out to my partner's family.
But wait a minute. No, he just fucking wait a minute. Playing a board game is a way to be with your family and not talk about
Hell
shit
yeah.
that's important.
Yeah.
You can fucking play Monopoly for 7 years and you can leave the
Not
family
talk
and
about one
someone
feeling.
comes and not talk about one fucking emotion.
Nothing.
It's so funny. All my Minnesota friends love board games. It's never been my thing, and me and my family, we do not get along.
I see.
So I think,
yeah.
I think
So you know the type, though.
But
Yeah.
absolutely.
You and your family don't get along?
Me and my dad, in particular.
Oh, and why is that?
Okay.
I didn't have a dad,
goes a
so
long way back.
I didn't have anybody to. And my grandfather was not my biological grandfather.
Oh wow.
So I'm a little bit. That's why I have abandonment issues, because everybody leaves me, so I leave before anybody.
That's how I do it.
There you go.
That is also how I do it.
Yeah.
I ain't leaving you, George.
Oh, you'll leave, motherfucker. You just, huh? You go to a Momo's party on Friday, be talking shit about that fucking dude's a hack. But that's how those things manifest themselves. Like we leave before.
And I'm trying to you know what I mean? Like if I have kids, I want to be able to fix that part of me that wants to leave before, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't want to do that again, and I don't know.
What do you think is the part that you would say that you would leave somebody? Like what's in us that we would say, I'm gonna leave before, because the kid is,
or like I'm gonna fuck it up
right
before it fucks up on me. It's one. I think it's a trauma response, honestly, of me going, you're not gonna fool me.
Right.
Like I'm gonna torpedo this before, you know what I mean? Like you're not gonna catch me.
You remember, these are the things, like, these are the emotions that when you're doing comedy, you try to get those things in there, but they're hard because they would be considered not funny. So you're trying to, like, find something that can make it appear that, and for us to talk about it, that, like, I had a joke where, my grandmother raised me, and I said my mom was, very loose. That's why you're raised by your grandparents, because your mom's out there. And then you say, how loose? I could have fucked her. So to me, that's about as deep as I would go in. And I wrote that thing in my 20s and have never said it on stage.
Oh, really?
But it's been in me,
It's
because
so funny.
that's the whole thing. Is that, I don't know.
Do you feel like it won't be?
It hurts. It hurts. It hurts because it's
the
true.
truth.
Yeah.
But it's so funny.
Thank you.
I don't know.
I wish I had 20 more of them. I would pass guilt. But you know what I'm saying? But that's where your your instincts go there to the truth. Now, whether you speak the truth or not is up to you.
Yeah.
But your emotions and your heart and your intellect will take you to a place where you'll write something and you'll say, I don't know if I can say that.
I respect that. I have a feature that I have a story that I want to tell, but I'm scared to. And that's how I know I need to, but it's just not right time right now.
It's really not the right time, because whatever you say is open for everyone else's interpretation. When it's not about, it doesn't matter what their interpretation is. It matters what you're saying. But now somebody on Instagram could say, yeah, I saw that, and then they heckle you or they bombard you with messages. And kids that. A lot of the young kids are committing suicide, like at a fucking crazy rate, because they're not equipped to handle any negativity.
Yeah.
Where we were, like I don't know if you're just stupid or you're just dumb. Like your parents did, and it didn't offend you. But if you talk to a kid that way now, who's been coddled and just shown everything to be positive, that's going to be they're going to hurt themselves when something doesn't go their way. And I mean, we're in a place where, if you look at it, TikTokers and YouTubers, they believe that all of those likes are actually people who like them, and not somebody just pushing a fucking thumb on their computer. And they can't take the fact that maybe one video didn't get as many views, and that they're slipping or whatever. And we're still spoken word.
Yeah.
We're not like, we do it live. We're spoken word. We're not putting a video up there and a TikTok and you think it's your best, and then it gets maybe 1,100 when the last one got 2,500, and it ruins your fucking life.
Yeah, this better get 2,500 likes.
At least,
all right?
Gil's top is 1,100. But you know what I'm saying is that they're not equipped emotionally to handle rejection when it's not even rejection. It can't be rejection if it comes through a fucking phone.
I can't imagine being a kid now.
I wouldn't have survived.
It must be. I know. I don't think I would have the fortitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're strong though. They're stronger than we were.
So in your career, where would you see yourself? Where you would say, okay, I think I'm on a nice trajectory, but what eventually would I want to do that would make me happy?
I want to I want to be a writer director.
Yeah.
I always say I have 12 stories I want to tell.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I'll move on. And I think I want to leave a signature behind.
Yeah.
You know, I'm very visual. I know what I like. I know what I want, especially as a creator. So I like to leave something behind, and when people see it, they're like, "Oh, that's a Peter Kim joint."
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
And how do you write? Do you journal, or are you write at night? Do you write in your phone, or how do you process your thoughts? And
Definitely, my notes app is everything. It's
Yeah.
you know, it's everything. But I have to structure, or else I can't do it. I have to tell myself, these 3 hours, get into it.
Right.
It doesn't matter if it's garbage. Like, just shit it out. And
you know who wrote like that? Seinfeld used to write like that. Seinfeld will try to. He'd say, start to write 5 minutes a day, which is really hard in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then try to build up to an hour a day. And I try to tell Mayan that, and Mayan, my daughter, it doesn't do it. And I
Yeah.
told her 11 years ago. So if she had done it 11 years ago, I mean, I don't know what she does in her time. I don't ask her, but they sold the show to NBC. But also, she has a responsibility to be better on her own without me checking on her, and you can only hope that she's doing that. Like, I can't say, we have an obligation to be prepared.
Yeah.
She has an obligation to be prepared, but she's never had an opportunity this big. So I would hope that in that she would
Yeah.
be preparing.
yeah, I bet she is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've just learned that everybody has their own process, and something that works for me will not work for someone else, another writer across.
Right.
So I think that's the coolest thing about being a writer, is that you approach it so differently, and then that's what makes it special, is that it's your unique.
But also, when people have either TikToks or Instagrams and things like that, where you can, on your phone, create, you can do bits, you can create little movies on your phones that we weren't able to do when I was growing up. You had to go to a club to perform to try to be good. But in the computer or all that stuff, you can edit things, and I see them every day.
Yeah.
I see people trying to be.
There's some funny shit on TikTok. I laugh out loud on TikTok all the time. I think they're geniuses. I don't have the mobility in my brain.
But if you got them in front of people, they wouldn't be.
Yeah, I think it's a different skill. It's a different skill. Live performance is, it's the great equalizer, I think.
Do you think that people who are on TikTok that they're able to go viral can go to a larger platform, or are they only good in 15-second or a minute intervals, which is it's misleading to be funny for a minute.
Good on TikTok. I can't see these people going live on stage.
I think most of them are probably just that form. Some of them might just be like Bo Burnham, who came from YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So he wasn't doing it from YouTube, but he's brilliant, and so there's one in a million out of there, but most of them are probably form specific.
Are you a fan of comedians from the past, or how far back do you go?
You mean American comedy?
Or Korean comedians?
In Korean comedy, I go back to
80s
and 70s, because I grew up watching those people.
Who are those guys?
You wouldn't know any of their names.
Yeah, almost like Cantinflas and all those.
It's like a variety show type. It's all very physical comedy, clowning, that kind of stuff. That's my heart. That's the heart of my comedy.
And you watch them in Korean do that, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
and a lot of it is status based, and I'm the very Three Stooges type of comedy. And but here in America, I grew up watching Seinfeld, Larry David. I studied Richard Pryor, and those guys. I'm a big fan of American stand-up comedy. It's an art form that's.
I studied Richard Pryor.
Yeah. Also queer, I hear. Had some queer experiences,
yeah,
with some very hot people.
With some
I'm like, that's hot. I wish I was there in the 70s, in the cocaine-driven 70s.
There was some wild shit going on, man.
Yeah.
There was some fucking, there was some drinking daily on the daily.
Yeah.
But Richard Pryor was that was
That was your guy?
my dude. Yeah.
Yeah. My guy that I watched live was Attell, and I watched Dave Chappelle in the Cellar. And,
Yeah. The Cellar was a great play. All those guys, Louis C.K., all those guys went in there.
Godfrey was
Gilbert Gottfried,
back
God rest
then.
his soul,
Yeah.
God rest his soul, man. You know, that dude, man, like those guys, you know, to think that Bob Saget, Louis, and Gilbert all went in the same year is just, it's almost unbelievable to me.
Oh, you mean Gilbert Gottfried?
Yeah. Oh.
I was laughing because.
Oh, who? Who's the other one?
No, sorry. His name is Godfrey.
Oh, Godfrey. Oh, the African
Black
American
comedian.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Yeah.
He does a great
Godfrey's still
Lion King
alive.
bit. Yeah. That's what when you
Just for
when you
clarity.
said that, I was like, wait, are you being
I thought
shady?
Gilbert Gottfried. No,
Actually, that's what I heard too. So I'm glad we clarified.
Well, I would say Gilbert Gottfried than Godfrey. Yeah.
That's such a funny, like, almost drag queeny gay thing to like roast about someone if you don't like them. You know, someone you don't like. Let's say like Donald Trump. Oh, God rest his soul.
Yeah. And where can people see you? Where can we?
Season 2 of Fairfax is coming out on Amazon June 10th. So you can check the gang
And Fairfax
out there.
is about what? Is about.
It's about the Fairfax district in LA, and it's about 4 middle school kids.
Wait a minute,
who
Fairfax, like where CBS is?
Yeah. That whole strip, and it's all about like hype beast culture, sneaker culture, like what's hot, what's not, and it's about like 4 middle school kids who are like trying to keep up with it.
Are you familiar with that?
No, not at all.
So one morning I'm going to the airport and we're going down Fairfax, and there's 1,200 fucking people in line in front of this little store, and I'm like, it's 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And they were dropping some shoe.
Yeah.
And they were at that
wild.
hour, there was fucking
Lines out.
They were
and
dropping
police.
what?
A shoe. Like a new shoe was coming out. No cleavage. You know, I told them that my fetish was foot cleavage, like when a woman's wearing a pump. And just like,
Toe cleavage, I
Toe
think you call
boobs?
it.
could you toe fuck somebody? No.
You could toe fuck
If
someone.
you're small enough
No.
yeah.
No. not while
between
it's
the
in
the 2
show.
feet. Yeah.
My wife will die, but I got to tell you this. The other day at the house, I'm looking at her, I said, hey, what are hammer toes? And she said, are you serious? I said, yeah, what are hammer toes? And she says, well, you know, when women wear those things and you got this thing. And my son looks at her, he says, no, Mom, those are camel toes. They're talking about hammer toes.
Shoes?
Is male camel toe as attractive as female camel toe?
No. No, male camel toe is disgusting.
All right, we can stop doing the podcast. That's all I wanted to know. That's awesome, man. Thanks for coming in, dude.
Thank you for having me,
Absolutely a pleasure to meet you, man.
This was really fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks
I'll
for
give you one
coming.
of
And thank you for being open.
Of course.
Yeah.
So you want to like
thank
shout
you.
your socials or anything like that? Or just where people
Yeah,
can
at
follow?
Peter KZ is my socials. Yeah, I don't know. I don't do social media that much.
Well, there
You
you
know,
go.
good for you.
No, but I just don't. I think I'm too old. I don't know how to like keep up with it. But you know, if you, I do live shows in LA. If you're in LA, come out. Oh, are we still going or no?
Yeah, we're still going.
Oh, I need to shout this out. I'm gonna be in Chicago, June 12th, but also that weekend, June 17th through the 19th, I'm gonna be headlining DC Comedy Loft. So please come out to that.
Where's DC Comedy Loft on K Street?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
DC?
I think it's a
It's a new place, or
I don't know. I don't know if it's new.
you know, I worked at a place in DC that was a 3-story place. The top story was like a nightclub. The second story was like the comedy club, and down below they had a strip club. And you know, almost like back in the day where you would do the first show, and then I'd go down to the strip club and hang out until guy came in the doorway and said, you know, give me like 10 minutes. And I'd go up and do the show, and then I would go back down to the strip club. I mean, amazing shit.
I don't
man.
think this place is like that.
No.
I think there's a beer garden downstairs.
I think it's the DC Comedy Loft and Beer Baron Tavern.
Yes,
I think
exactly.
so, yeah.
I don't think that's that place. I think there's
That's
a beer
not that
garden
place.
downstairs. Yeah.
Yeah.
But those places were fucking great, man. 'cause
I bet.
That's the shit that you would hear about. You know, I would do a show, then go down and just check out chicks, have a couple sit with me, and then go back up. Well, I'll be right back after this. Hang on. I mean,
Sounds fun.
Awesome, man.
I went to a comedy place over there in Washington, D.C., and Louis Anderson was performing. I went with a friend. She was a former cop here, and then she had restaurants over there. We went together and sat there and my laughter. And after
Was
the
he
show
was he funny?
Yeah, he was. This is years ago, and he comes up and he's after the show. He says, "God, you were great." He says, "Man," he says, "You local?" I said, "No, I'm from L.A. I'm going back home tomorrow. I'll be back in L.A. I'm going to be in L.A. next week. Hey, come on out to the show." And he wanted me to go see him over there. I never did, but
Louis, I did a thing with Louis at NoHo for Sherry Shepherd, that theater on Lankershim, and then Louis goes, "George, what do you think of this? Like, my shirts are so big that it's starting to look like the logo of the Super Bowl. Like XXX, BB, 1, 2. I mean, he was the best, man. He was the best.
That's great. Awesome.
God rest his soul,
Godfrey
for
too.
real.
Godfrey, you know he's still here. God rest his soul.
All right. Thanks so much for coming up, Peter.
Thank you, guys.
thank you.